If you're thinking about getting into creative real estate investing, especially if you're looking into certain niche areas like pre-foreclosures, using strategies like subject to or other creative finance strategies, there are certain people you need to have in your circle. There are certain people you need to have in your circle. The first person you need to have in your circle is, I'm going to say, a seasoned investor. You need to have a seasoned investor. Now, of course, you should be a seasoned investor, but if you're just getting started, you're not a seasoned investor. You're going to need a seasoned investor. And trust me, if you're going to have a seasoned investor in your corner, it is most likely because you have joined some type of mentorship community. Point blank, period. People, I'm one of them. I'm a real estate investor. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm an educator. Of course, on the church side, I'm a preacher and pastor and have been both for over 20 years. I'm going to say this respectfully. I don't have time for people who just want to get in the business, want to get in the game, who just want to shadow me and want to be mentored. It don't work like that. Because guess what? The things that I need to learn, I have to pay to play. So I'm saying that respectfully. You need a seasoned investor. So that means you need to find a coach, preferably a coach who has a community of people who are actively involved in creative real estate. All right. So you can find a real estate investor who's not creative. They don't do owner financing. They don't know anything or don't do anything with subject tos. They ain't looking at pre-foreclosures or expired listings or any of the niche areas under this umbrella of creative. So that means that person may teach you the underwriting parts, the analyzing and the terms and the concepts. You can learn the fundamentals, but all this other creative stuff, you're going to have a seasoned investor who is actually involved doing deals. Now, we're in a internet, social media world, right? So there are a lot of people who's standing in front of digital boards like I am or wherever they are in studios talking about a whole lot of stuff that they ain't being about, okay? So if they ain't got receipts to show you, if they ain't got real deals that they doing, as a few people I know would say, if they don't have settlement statements to prove that they're actually closing deals creatively, they just talking. But you got to have a seasoned real estate investor, okay? The second most important person, I would say the second most important person that you would need is an attorney. Now, I don't think I have to say this, or maybe I do. Everybody that I'm talking about should be creative real estate investing friendly, all right? They should be creative real estate investing friendly. I'm not just talking about your average real estate investment mentor or coach. I'm talking about somebody who's actively involved in creative real estate investing, an attorney or a title company. This could be a title depending on what state you're in, but this is somebody you definitely need. They're going to help you with most of the stuff that you're going to have problems with, okay? So there's still things that I learned from my attorney. As a matter of fact, today before I came to the office, I'm in Buckhead, Atlanta. So my creative real estate investor-friendly attorney is like a 3-minute drive from where I am. He's actually in a business park like I am around the corner here in Buckhead. So I pass by there every day because his office is literally right up from where I live at. So I'm always in and out of there, right? Just randomly because I love him. I just love the feeling of going into that office because I'm either making money or spending money, one of the two when I'm in that office. But here's the thing. I just went in there today. I had a couple things that came up on a deal that I'm working on, and it was something new. It was the first for me with this particular complex situation. Went in there like in 3-4 minutes. They're like, oh, you just do A, B, C, D. Take this, do that, do this, have your team member who's going to the property, blah, 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 have them to sign this. Once this happens, I mean, they just wrote it out. And I'm like this here the whole time. I'm like, and they're like, yep, that's it. And I'm thinking, that's it? That's it. That's the importance of of having an attorney because they're going to help you out with all of that, okay? Number 3, the third person you need. I'm talking about people you need. I'm going to say a real estate agent / transaction coordinator, because so this could be 2 people, but I'm going to just put it in one category because I happen to have one who is both. Like my wife, she's a real estate agent, okay, in the state of Georgia. She's been one for 22 years. But she's also our transaction coordinator for RP Capital. So I get the best of both worlds. In today's world, especially in the creative space, you have a lot of people who are not real estate agents, but they're transaction coordinators. So this would be a 3, possible 4th person you need if the real estate agent is not investor friendly and knows nothing about creative real estate. You do not, I'm sorry, real estate agents, you do not want to use a real estate agent who doesn't know about investing or worse, creative real estate investing. You're just wasting your time, all right? So if it's a real estate agent who is a TC, who understands the role of a TC, and they're trained in that, then 3 and 4 could be 1. If not, then eliminate 3 and get the TC. The TC would be the 3rd person because they're more important than a real estate agent who knows nothing about investing or creative real estate, all right? So a TC that's trained, because there are a lot of TCs like real estate agents who know nothing about the creative side of real estate. So it's not just an investor-friendly person, but creative real estate investor-friendly, all right? The next person would be, and I'm just prioritizing them as either 4 or 5 here, only because if you don't have a seasoned investor, if you don't get educated and trained, you never get in the business and start making things happen. If you don't have an attorney, you don't have the paperwork, you don't have someone professional to help reinforce what you do when you find an opportunity or deal. And that means you'll never need a TC. And then this next person is insurance agent. You won't need one. But once you get a deal and you get the documents submitted to the attorney and your TC is working on all the pre-closing nuances, one of the things you or your TC or somebody on your team is going to do is have to send that information to an investor, a creative real estate investor friendly insurance agent. Because when you're doing creative deals like Subject 2, you have to have an insurance agent that knows how to actually put that policy together and submit the declaration information or page, the documents to the bank, the mortgage loan company whose the borrower's name is still on, right? When you're purchasing it Subject 2. I hope I'm not confusing you about that. So that would be an insurance agent. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, this could be a 3rd person if you don't need an agent, but I would say you want to have one, even if not for the acquisition. You probably want to have one for the disposition. If a part of your exit strategy is to sell a home or flip it or subtail, as they would call it, you want to have a real estate agent. So you need to get one on your team. So I'll just say 5 is the insurance agent. All right. Number 6 would be home inspector. And again, this really comes down to your knowledge of the business. If you're just getting started, you're probably not going to do it this way. I've done it enough times. My wife and I, we've worked on a lot of deals in 20 years with home buyers, sellers, the traditional, conventional way, the creative way, with investors, residential, some commercial deals. We've at least been able to experience a lot of things ourselves, partnering with people, and we've seen so many ins and outs. And I know my way around a house. My dad used to be a master carpenter. That's how I learned about carpentry, and that's how I know my whole way around the house. You know, I never took it to that level of mastery. I just basically stayed at the Mr. Fix-It, level. However, it worked to my advantage because now I know my way around houses still today. I know a little about a lot. How about that? I'll say it that way. So I'm not a general contractor. I'm not a master carpenter like my dad was, but I know how to put that carpenter's belt on. I know how to walk into Home Depot and get what I need, whether it's roofing, flooring, plumbing, walls, electric. I know my way around the house. So I'm not praising my own pond. I'm just trying to make a point that if you know enough, sometimes you can bypass a home inspector. But if you don't, just please don't take the chance. And a lot of times I'm going to use a home inspector not to determine if I'm not going to buy the deal or if I am going to buy it. I'm using a home inspector to help me in my negotiation if I need to retrade on that price, okay? So if you're just getting started, you want to get that home inspection. It's going to give you a peace of mind, okay? The next person would be a general contractor. And I'm saying general contractor because we're talking about someone who can hopefully play the role of a project manager for you. And there are a lot of amazing people. I know some people. I just talked to an agent about a week or so ago, and she was saying to my wife and I don't like, this is like her second property she's ever done a deal on with an investor, and she's already talking like spotty. Yeah, I don't like contractors. I don't deal with them. They this, they that. And I know she just listened to what other people say, that contractors are hard to work with, they're a headache. And some of them can be. But when you've been in the business and you know how to work with people and deal with people and make sure people get paid good and you take good care of them, you're not going to have those problems. I'm telling you, my wife and I we've had a couple problems with contractors, but for the most part, when we have our hands in it and we're controlling the situation, we don't have those problems. So a general contractor, because let's say you do tie up a property and you get a home inspection. Sometimes the general contractor will miss certain things that the home inspector will find, but the home inspector is not going to necessarily give you a quote. So if you send a home inspector there first, let's say, for example, the home inspector is going to give you this whole list of all this stuff that needs to be done. The GC will come in and say, okay, here are the costs associated to these things, and they may have subcontractors for carpet, for flooring, for drywall, for paint, for roof, electric, plumbing, whatever. And now you have a better idea on what you're working with. And I will also say number 8, I'm going to abbreviate it, MLO. This is a mortgage loan originator. Now, why would you want one of them? Well, for a couple different reasons. You want a lender on your team, have a relationship with maybe many lenders, because if you're going to sell the property, let's say if you're going to sell it on a wrap to an end buyer, if you're going to do a lease purchase or a lease option, you may want to have them involved to pre-qualify the tenant buyer. Maybe you're going to buy and hold it and rent it out, and at some point you want to refi, like the BRRRR or the SIR, as creative people call it. So you're going to want to have that person in place. So when I'm entering a deal, I'm already thinking about my exit. And one of the things that I'm thinking about for the exit is, what if I have to refinance it? Especially if it's a creative deal and things go left and I need to get out of it, but I have a tenant in it and I want to hold it, I don't want to sell it. What does it look like for the refinance? So I always want to have someone in place, not just for me, but for a potential end buyer, lease option, tenant buyer, whoever it is. So these are just 8 of the people that I say you need, especially if you're getting into creative real estate investing, more specifically into the niches of pre-foreclosures, expired listings, you're working subject to creative finance types deals. You have those 8 people, you build those relationships, your life is going to be way, way better than what it would be if you didn't have those.